I gotta say, that is like a real unlock, man. Like a literal blind spot that I just didn't see.
So I'm here in Lisbon, Portugal, and my good friend Igor came to me with a problem. His content was feeling like a chore.
I get it. You don't need to do any more convincing. I guess I didn't see the full picture. Okay.
Dreading it, looking at himself in the mirror going, what am I doing here? Spending nights up until 2 a.m. shooting YouTube videos. Insane, but the truth is, I hear this same struggle from hundreds, if not thousands of founders. And I went and broke down for Igor my 3 frameworks to go from content laborer to content CEO. And I'm gonna go and share with you these 3 frameworks so you can go and implement them in your own life and business today. Let's get into it.
So maybe we can start with just like business, an overview of like what you created and like your story a bit.
I just love to tinker, I love to build, I love to create. Yeah, over time that took many forms in my adult life. It started taking the form of first a video production company and now tech YouTube channel on artificial intelligence, concretely generative AI use cases that are practical. I see myself as, I'm like the practical guy that shows you how to apply it rather than just shows you and reads out the blog posts, for example. So it's always a balance, but at the end of the day, I'm just a creator, just an entrepreneur. The main question in my mind was, I would love to do more content that breaks a little bit out of the routine that I've built in terms of content creation. It's very rigid right now. Like we do a weekly news video, we repurpose that into free shorts that we post across different platforms. We do sponsored videos where I really like our approach because we pick projects that we want to do and we pitch them to the sponsors. And if their platform and product matches with that, we do like this project video with the sponsor.
Cool. Nice.
Beyond that, it doesn't really leave much space for me to kind of just take some time and create some space to just do something that I would like to create. I don't remember the last time where I kind of like really created a project where I just felt like creating that. Usually it's very driven by strategy, and usually it's me sitting in a room recording a YouTube video by myself about this never-ending list of AI releases every single week. And I just gotta say sometimes that's rather uninspiring. But out of the 15, 20 releases every week, we cover 10. And I personally maybe care about 1. Wow. And usually, and honestly, that's a bit optimistic because like we just do it on every single week. And most people, if you consume it, you spend 15 minutes with the video or 20 minutes with the video. Our entire process, actually, I did the calculation recently. I was kind of shocked by it because we have 2 researchers, we have 2 editors, we have me, and then we have meetings to prepare everything. Overall, it's 45, 46 hours to create 1 video in man hours. Wow. But it's like turns content creation into more of a treadmill than something that I would want to do more of. And I would love to create more. I would love to create something that's a bit more authentic to me rather than just doing the list of news stories.
So the first framework is the intentional content framework. You're maybe there, right? You're creating content, but it's not filling up your cup, or you're actually really enjoying it, but you're making no money from it. And the problem is that when you don't have these 3 aspects nailed down, you have content that is essentially broken. Let me explain. So the 3 parts of the intentional content framework are making content that you love, that you can be paid for, and that you're great at. The intersection of that is the founder-led brand sweet spot. This is when you're making content that, just feels like flow. It's enjoyable. You're putting it out there and your community is eating it up. They're in fact paying you to go and learn more of these concepts from you, or they're buying your product and service because they're so convinced by what you're delivering and it actually relates to the thing that you sell. And it's something that you're great at, right? You have mastery over this domain. When you get all 3 of those things, I think you're really building content inside of your calling. And ultimately, you're kind of creating a niche, and that niche is you. As an example, what I see all the time is that people are making great money from what they're doing, and they're really great at it. But there's like this inner artist in them that's been lost. The days of enjoying the content, taking pride in things like the cinematography, the tone, the editing, the coloring, the font, the B-roll, all those different details has been lost. And along with that, the heart and the soul of their brand has washed away. This may not matter for most people, but for the kind of founders that I work with, the heart and soul of a brand is everything. And I don't think this is just important for your own sake, but as you look over to the next decade, with AI taking over more and more, with content just becoming more ubiquitous and easier to replicate, the one piece that AI will never be able to replicate is your heart your soul, and the intentionality that you put into your content.
And so when I like look at your current situation, right, it seems like some of the issues lie in like when we look at this like love area, because I feel like a lot of what you're currently doing, it's always solo.
Don't love that.
Yeah, you talked about being on it, feeling like you're on a bit of a treadmill.
Yeah, I think these are the two things. I think you nailed it on the head. Like those are the two things that make some of the videos feel like a chore. And I do them for the audience, but there's only so much of that you can kind of do.
So when it comes to the solo side, right, let's just like maybe double click into a few of these for a sec. So we've got solo. So what's like, you know, been the main struggle on the solo side?
In the videos, if I'm going through the docket of like all the topics, I'm not excited about every single one of them. So I got to put on a bit of a play. Like I can go from like mellow to like, what's up guys? In today's episode of News You Can Use, we got to kind of cover this and this. And then you wouldn't believe what happened with OpenAI's new release. They got sued again, you know, and I think that sort of is draining, right?
There feels like an element there. It's like, it's a little bit draining.
Yeah, it is definitely draining.
And it feels like it's also, I don't want to say like performative or you kind of turn on.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like a late night host or something, right? Like they always have this like persona.
Right. And there's like this character you kind of got to tap into versus it feeling like it's coming from like maybe your heart and soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then on the treadmill aspect, like what are some like the major challenges there?
I mean, I'm tied to upload schedule, right? I'm tied to a team, tied to the deadlines that come with that. But I don't actually dread that. I don't mind that. I think it's really more in like the first aspect when I look at it like this on the board. Yeah, like the solo aspect.
Okay, this is the major one.
I think the treadmill aspect that I do mind is the fact that I feel like if I had like a month of not creating content, I would be creating content, but other type of content, you know? Like some sort of these like ideas that I have would like percolate to the top. Because I'm on a treadmill and because I'm on a deadline, like when I'm done creating everything and like the weekend comes around, on Saturday I gotta do some business stuff to catch up on, and then maybe I have a Sunday off, and like the last thing I want to do on a Sunday is spend the whole day creating because I know Monday is coming around and like, yeah.
Yeah, and like you said too, when you're on such like a production schedule, whether it's like 4 videos a month or 10 videos a month, to come up with like that ultimate creative content that you actually really love to do is just more added content ideation and formulation. And that's the last thing you're going to want to do. And it's probably the last thing that's even healthy for you to do. I think longevity is something that doesn't get kind of talked about enough in a way, right? But
most content strategies are all over the place. And the next framework helps you go and synthesize your content in a way that's clear, concise, and honestly, just a lot of fun. The reality is if you're making a bunch of content all over the place, you're not going to enjoy it, your team's going to be confused around it, and it's likely not going to perform well with your community. And so this is where the 3-3-3 method comes in. Having 3 clear content categories, 3 clear content formats, and 3 unique perspectives that really encapsulate your point of view in your given sort of content strategy.
For this exercise for you, I would just focus on what do you love to create? Mm-hmm. What is the kind of stuff you love to talk about? We can talk about later, like the paid aspect of that or all that aspect, but kind of like, let's use that as an afterthought because I feel like you're already really great at figuring out how to get paid for things, but it's this like love component that
that's true.
Kind of gets ignored for a sec.
Okay.
So for me as an example, like just to go through these on the, the pillars side, we have things like organic content. We have stuff like founder systems, time freedom. And then on the different formats, we just kind of keep it simple. So we have like how-to type videos, maybe how I, which is more like about how I do something, and then behind the scenes type stuff. On the unique perspectives, we've got kind of like this Zen CEO vibe, like how to build a calm company. We've got, systems, kind of equal freedom sort of perspective, and that the future of brands will be founder-led. Sometimes this exercise is really linear. Sometimes it's like a little bit messy because just a content brainstorm. What are some content pillars that like would bring you joy and that you'd love to talk about? You have like a whole new channel you're starting. Maybe it's like, imagine it's day 1 all over again.
Yeah. So just like what I really want to talk about?
Yeah.
The stuff that I'm passionate about in my life. I just love kite surfing right now, like over the past few years. I just love that sport. It's such a niche sport. Like even it's a small sport worldwide. Secondly, I feel like I've been through an extraordinary amount of hardship for my relative young age. I find myself, one, being really helpful when somebody's struggling with certain life lessons, and two, I find myself enjoying that. I can tell you, like, from the past year, the event that I actually enjoyed the most was a local school here in Lisbon reaching out for me to like speak there. And it was more about like the entrepreneurial journey rather than like just AI. They're like, okay, there's this AI creator, but all the questions they had is like, how did you start? Like, how do you do that? How do we do that? And just like sharing that was the most inspiring thing for me. That was amazing. And so I'm not
maybe like
sure
life lessons. Yeah, like life lessons. Yeah. That really, and then also, I think when I see that, I think one thing that I thought about like many times was, I think I'm really good on systems. Like I talked to like an entrepreneur friend of mine. We kind of like compared systems, and she was like, what the hell? What? Like how do you have a flow for every process? How do you have these like job descriptions with tasks that are tied to like everything is just, it's really like I built this puzzle, and I think I know where that comes from. It comes from a lot of like unpredictability in my early years. So I learned that like, okay, like if I can build this repeatable system, then yeah, there's just a reason for it in my life. But like generally, I think that's why I'm also good at structure to chaos. So in terms of like formats, just to give you a broad range, like there's like listicles, there's like system breakdowns, there's guides, there's recipes, case studies, testimonials. Like, is there certain formats? You've seen a lot of different stuff. I know a decent amount of what you do currently, as an example, would be like news roundups. I'm curious what comes up there.
One thing I want to yoink from you is the how I, because like that's the thing, is like when I built a personal CRM, I don't really create a video for it on the channel, right? Because it's not like a really AI thing, but I think it's super interesting way to kind of like approach your social life, especially if you like live globally. How do I navigate life lessons? How do I build systems to help with my social community aspect, all that?
Yeah, I think a lot of this, like at least where I see it going, sometimes I think it's good to reflect it back to you. It's like, we talked about the first bit, right? Which is like that intentional content framework, right? The love piece was kind of missing, which means like kind of like your heart and soul isn't necessarily getting a lot of space in your content strategy.
Yeah.
And then when we kind of double click into the 333 method, we get into like all these awesome things that you want to be talking about, like your interesting kite surfing, how you like to like optimize things, create like your own personal CRMs, as nerdy as these things are, right? I got a bunch of that stuff too. This idea of like moving it from just like how you can do stuff to just like, hey, I'm just gonna be open about how I do things.
Yeah.
And I think that it kind of also leads from, if people are watching this too, it creates what I think is like almost like character development, right? Like you can just keep delivering all this knowledge and all this news all the time. But like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
And if you think about over the next, like say 20 years of doing what you're doing, because I do believe that you're the kind of guy that will be doing this that long at least. Like
I'll always be creating videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In any space, but let's just say AI as an example. The thing that will, I think, long-term create like more of a moat around what you're doing is, sure, like there's the knowledge piece and the packaging and the titles and the community builder and all that, but it's also just you.
Yeah.
Because there'll be a bunch of other guys or women delivering the news and some of the things, not saying exactly yours, but you get it, right?
Sure.
But it's like, no, but I listen to Igor. Like this guy's dope as fuck. Like he kite surfs on weekends and does this thing over there. He's got a badass team that meets up like in dope spots.
Yeah.
He's like a cool guy. And I like the way he delivers it. So there's this like, they feel like they know you too.
Yeah.
And it's more of like a connection with this person online as an actual human.
That makes sense.
Versus just this like newscaster. In terms of like the general vibe, right? We've got like the content pillars, like these are just some ideas, right? V1, this is not saying like, oh, we've cracked the code on it all, right? But at least started to tap into some things that like you genuinely love and that fire you up. So I think like where I would personally go with something like this, right, is now you bring in like that packaging genius part of your brain.
Yeah.
With all this stuff, and even could put this into like one of your AI tools, right? ChatGPT of like, hey, these are the kind of content pillars I'm interested in. This is kind of some formats I'm thinking of. These are some unique perspectives I have. Give it as much detail as possible. Even upload some like amazing like titles that really inspire you after doing research, say on like oneof10.com or whatever.
Yeah.
And going like, hey, come up with some concepts around this, whether that's for YouTube videos or like you said, you're starting like potentially a new Instagram channel. And then it's like, okay, here we go. Like it should help you with like your energy, tapping into stuff that you actually care about. It should also be stuff that you can literally just film like sometimes like maybe you're about to go kite surfing for the day and you just like quickly in the sand before you go, just share a quick story, you know? Or maybe it's the story afterwards. Like, hey, a guy just flew into that cliff over there. And like, I'm going to tell you just a quick story about like how you make plans and life laughs at them, you know? And people are like, oh, fuck, this is like interesting, right?
Yeah.
And you're enjoying it just for the point of like opening up more and sharing more of this like vulnerable or real side of you. And people too that I'm sure follow you on the other platforms are going to be interested because they're like, oh, this is who this guy is.
Yeah, that's great.
Building a team can be one of the hardest challenges of any founder-led brand. And oftentimes what you find is that you're only as strong as your weakest link. Now, in this case, Igor's been doing this a long, long time. He's been building businesses for a decade. Hell, he even ran his own video production company. And so the next challenge that he runs into is super unique. And the truth is, though, that I think there is actually a universal learning from all of this. Now, the reality is that oftentimes we have a lot of the pieces in the right place, but sometimes it's just that one little pebble in our shoe, as an example, that just ends up driving us the most pain. And it can just be that one role in your company that you haven't quite cracked the code on yet that ends up resulting in 95% of your problems. Now, in this case, it's actually a few layers deeper for Igor because his ego and his identity are so wrapped up in this videographer identity he used to have when he was 21. You know, fast forward to 31, he still hasn't grown out of that identity. And what we need to do is kind of move him from just being the creator behind his brand to the CEO so that he embodies a new level of founder, moving from personal brand to personal media company. And in this next bit, I'm going to show him how he can actually go and structure his own personal media company for massive leverage, enjoyment, and scale.
Let's talk a bit about the solo vibe you're doing now, and then let's get into the personal media company vibe. You know, you said you're filming tonight. What does that look like?
Yeah, so we have a research meeting at 6 p.m. where we get together and with the video editors and the researchers, and we go through every story that happened this week. We go through the research and also the testing that they have, you know, that they execute each week on the different stories. So it's sort of like a little like presentation towards me, and then we go through each story and then decide which of those stories are worth featuring, how I could present them in the video, if I should live test them, if it needs some more review from me, if we need some extra testing to be done. And then basically the ball is in my side of the court and I have to record.
Okay. So you have researcher, who does the packaging?
Me and my YouTube production manager and the video and the video editors together.
Okay, so you have a researcher, you have a production manager, and then you have a video editor.
Yes. And then it's sort of split. We have 2 video editors, and then I also have an assistant that is really amazing at graphics. So she helps too, sometimes with the packaging, visuals. But it's really like, she also researches, so it's kind of a team effort.
And do you have a social media manager?
No.
And you're all good though, because it's just a bit of content and the existing team can handle.
Yeah.
Cool. And what about a videographer?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the one thing that just like stands out, I'm not sure how you feel about it, right? Is this like, again, like the shooting and the actual filming of it being just like a bit of like a one player game versus that maybe feeling a little bit more multiplayer, right? Like, I talked about how like, you know, me and Diego shoot like all the time. And it's not even just that Diego's like shooting, obviously, or doing the lighting, which obviously helps, or helping with the locations and all that. It's also just like the feeling that it's more of like a team game. You know? So like we're filming something and I'm getting tripped up on something. It's like having that like emotional support partner that's like, dude, hey, we don't need to do that right now. Let's just skip to this part here. And then we do that part. And maybe I thought, oh fuck, I'm not looking forward to point 4 and 6 here. Like I actually don't feel these. And it's like, one thing is I'm hearing just like the solo aspect sometimes can be like lonely or even like a bit like rigid. And then the second aspect
it's not just lonely, it's rigid too. And I don't like rigid. And it's like, yeah.
And it's just also like, you got to go home by yourself, turn on a light at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
There's also like no accountability to it. So I think like, I mean, when I look at your stuff, I think it's like, it's simple. Like, I think there's a world where like all of this system like is working because you're good at that, but it's just like you plus like a like videographer, like on the actual shoot days, if you could.
But Matt, I'm the videographer. I always used to. That was my job title for a decade. That's me. You're telling me I should hire somebody that is me?
But I don't think that is you, right? You shifted from being a videographer to being the actual person on camera, right? And I think there's a recognition that you're not that you think about what you're making. We don't need to get into all the numbers in terms of like, your numbers and all that shit.
Yeah.
But like, just in terms of I feel screw the numbers, the simple pain that you feel sometimes on Wednesdays and Thursday nights.
Yeah.
Like if you could pay, I don't know, what is it? You need like a couple hours maybe each night as an example.
Yeah.
Maybe let's just say you're paying in a given month, $3,000. I'm just naming a number. I'm sure it's less, maybe it's more, I don't know. Right? Like, wouldn't it maybe be worth it just to like get out of like, or at least experiment with it to get out of this feeling of like, I got to go home. I got to do all this. Like even the uploading of the footage and all that, like you could have someone do all that shit. They film it. They put the memory cards in, they upload it. They turn on the cameras. They set it up. They say they're coming by. They bring food for you. Like what would it look like? There's an aspect where I think it's like the survival mode, maybe as like a kid and kind of like the resourcefulness in that, like you're being a good, like frugal founder. But there's also like, you're at a different stage slightly now.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, where you don't need to operate like that. And I just feel like you could ask yourself again, like, it's not just finding the love for the topics. It's also like the love and like giving yourself like kind of like loving kindness in terms of like, just like the filming.
Yeah.
The way that it feels sometimes right now, like it just doesn't need to feel like that. Like we're filming right now. It just doesn't really even feel like filming.
Hell no.
It's just like hanging out, chilling, kicking it. Like, and when we're done here, we're done. Like I don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. We just go and chill. And yours right now, and I know because I've been there, right? It's like, you got to like set it up, set up the lens, set up the this, do a test run. This is that. Give yourself some affirmations. Doesn't go right. Oh shit, the autofocus is still on. You got to make it manual. I don't know. You got to switch that. Maybe that shit I'm sure you're good at because you're.
Oh shit, I forgot to switch the scene from the live stream I did yesterday night. And now the whole 45-minute recording is actually just looking at the screen and the camera is across it. So I got to do it again.
Right. And if say that comes up like once a month, right?
Yeah.
I think it gets back. I always remind myself like, what is my hourly rate? My hourly rate is around $10,000 an hour. So if that thing comes up, say once a month, you're wasting 1 or 2 hours, your hourly rate's $6,000, $7,000, whatever the hell it is, $10,000 an hour. Yeah. Simply just having someone that saves you the upload time, makes it more fun, does like some of the technical aspects, helps even like, hey, you're stuck there. Let me just ask you a question, talk to me.
Let me just tell you,
go for it.
I get it. You don't need to do any more convincing or points there. I get it because like the first sentence that you said nailed it already. Like I think being a videographer is still like a part of my ego. And also I think when I was younger and also like before I went through therapy, I think the big topic there was like not just being like fully self-sufficient all the time on everything, and that it's okay to need people and that people are not built to just self-regulate and everything. And it's just kind of like accepting that like nothing about my life is the life of videographer me from like 8 years ago or something. So I gotta accept that and stop acting like the videographer because I'm the guy who's presenting the AI news. And in other situations, I love that work. I love the equipment. Yeah, I just gotta accept that I have a new role to fill.
Yeah. And I think though, if you like reflect, like the reality is like, you know how to do the research, you know how to do the production management.
Yeah.
You know how to do the video editing.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is like some skill like outside of yourself. I actually just see it as like maybe just like the last rung. I think there's an aspect of you that's just downplaying it a bit. Like I think it's more than you think. Like, because the thing I remind myself of a lot of the time, and sometimes even remind the team of, is like simply just being a founder and a creator. That's already 2, maybe even 3 jobs in terms of like the sheer level of workload, pressure, sometimes feeling like you really gotta like, wow, like I gotta really, like you're on camera, you gotta give it, like even in those days that you don't maybe have the energy, you gotta show up to then go and add literally anything more. Yeah. It's just literally not possible.
Dude, I do all the finance stuff too.
Yeah, of course. There's definitely more shit you do, right?
And there's more, wear multiple hats. Okay, that simple? Gotta stop being the videographer?
Like if I was in your shoes, like just not, and I'm not here to convince anything. I'm more just here to like illustrate an example, right?
Yeah.
I personally would like.
It is very convincing though.
I would have like, okay, so say you're filming on like Wednesday and Thursday, right? And you like to film in the evenings typically. Let's just say that was the case. I would go and interview some different people, or maybe you already know people. You end up finding a person that you just genuinely like as like a friend, kind of like me and Diego, or most of the people I work with on my team. Then, you have that person, like maybe they, like you do a dinner like Wednesday, Thursdays. So you go to dinner, you have like, they've already printed out like what you're going to review. They're bringing you like the printed stuff hypothetically. Yeah. Over dinner, you're kind of like talking about it, brainstorming it. So your brain's already getting in the mode of it, but in a fun way. It's just like over like a nice restaurant, right? Then you both go to your place. They're going to go set it all up. You're going to get your computer on, start to whatever, but they're doing the lighting, they're doing the thing, this is that.
Yeah.
And then at 9 o'clock, you go live till 11, film the 1 or 2 things, whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
And that's just like the Wednesday routine. And that's also the Thursday routine. And each time too, afterwards, they're taking the footage, uploading it to Google Drive or whatever you use, sharing that with the editor. And that's kind of your routine now.
That sounds incredible. It's just funny that like I literally did everything that is possible to eliminate a lot of those steps.
Yeah.
So things like the lighting, the file management, like I have automations that create the folder, that move the files. I have automations that notify the editors as soon as it's done. I've minimized it, but it's still a lot.
One of the good news there too then is like, that's great. So this person's job is even simpler.
It is.
Like and maybe you don't even need to pay that much at all. Like maybe it's just someone like literally just
to hang out.
Yeah, I think it's just also this shift, which everyone has to go through, right? Of moving from being just like a personal brand, which to me is like when you are the creator behind it all, and oftentimes like the jack of all trades, to moving and being like the CEO of a media company.
Yeah.
Like you have like this like systems, automations, AI stuff you deliver to your community of people, and then you have a media arm to what you're doing.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be within the media arm. You should sit above it as the CEO, right? And you're directing the product and you're directing the media company. And then you also have to be the on-camera talent.
Yeah.
But nothing more than that.
Okay.
Right? The second you start to find yourself like editing videos, no. Shooting videos, no. Like you got to remove yourself from all those aspects. Also, because I'm sure we haven't even talked about the business end of all the stuff you're doing. Yeah. I'm sure you have like massive aspirations there of like doubling the business year over year, whatever. That's going to be where your attention needs to be.
Yeah.
Not like shooting videos. And I think a thing too for you just to reflect on like after whatever is also like, like does the next like 10 years of your life when you're filming on say Wednesday, Thursdays as an example, do you want it to feel the way it feels now?
Hell no.
Like does it need to?
It's
like,
the number one thing in my life that is.
Yeah. And you've talked too about like in the previous aspect, like the real luxuries in life, like having a view and all that.
Yeah.
Like I think also like a luxury is like being able to do work that feels like play.
Yeah.
Right. Versus like having these aspects that like you dread and all that when it's like you don't need to do it like that anymore. Like yes, you needed to do that maybe when you were first starting to kind of get it up and going, but like you're way
maybe I'm stuck at that
past that now.
Yeah.
And just the natural stage of like, again, I think it's just the final string to kind of go, okay, now I'm ready to like let this piece go too. Because you've let all these other ones go.
Yeah. And it feels like I've let all of it go, but I guess I didn't see the full picture. Okay.
Yeah. So
I gotta say that is like a real unlock, man. Like that is like a literal blind spot that I just didn't see.
Which aspect?
That I delegated and systemized everything except of the part that was still a part of my identity, and that's why I kept doing it, but it was holding me back.
Yeah, I think it's like a common thing, right? Like
I appreciate it.
The thing is like we all, I think naturally have, like we didn't necessarily start what we started to be like the CEO or be the manager. No, we started what we started because there was like probably part of the craft that we enjoyed, whether that's like shooting videos or for me, like creating different systems or creating the content or whatever, right? But there's a certain point where some of that craftsmanship that we initially started, like we have to kind of rise above certain aspects of it if we hope to scale and also like enjoy the real luxuries in life.
For sure.
Okay. There we go. Nailed it. Boom. Good shit. So what's really important to me in all these videos is that you're actually able to go and implement this stuff yourself, right? Because going and learning a bunch of stuff is neat, but honestly, what's more cool and more rewarding for me and for you is when you actually take action on this stuff. And I get to see online all the stories of all the momentum you guys are building. And so to get maximum momentum out of this video you're watching right now, I went and created a 3-3-3 method and gone and synthesized all of what I just went through in an easy to implement deck so you can go and do it for yourself. So I'd recommend going and getting that via the link in the description, go through this deck and fill it out slide by slide. And then I'd recommend that you go and book a meeting with your team to go and run through your different categories, formats, and what you believe your unique perspective is. From there, you and your squad can go and formulate your own content strategy, get more clarity, and make your content operation more fun, more peaceful, and that much more impactful. So go check that in the description and let's get it.